It's a hammer brand. Hey campers, Georgia with Mary. We just checking out some knives that we're going to restore. Well, we're going to clean one up and we're going to fix another. It's missing stuff. Let's check it out. So Mary and I were discussing what we can restore and fix up. She really likes this one. See this? It's a knife in really good condition. I got it on an antique hunt with Keith, I think, when we went up north. And we both thought it was a hammer brand. When we pulled it out and had a look at it, shocked. It wasn't. It's actually a Richards of Sheffield, England. And very distinctive tang stamp. It's hard to see here. I'll see if I can get a better picture. Interesting history as well. They were very popular back in the day, especially in England. What I want to do with this guy is, as you can see, it's a little rusty and needs a little love and attention. It's not too bad, just needs to be cleaned up. So that's what I want to do with this guy. Very cool little knife. I really like it. 3 blades, very typical shape and everything. But I just couldn't believe how well the handles have survived. It's no young'un. No. The other one I have is this one here, which is the one I chose because I just like these. But this guy is a little beat up than just a cleanup. If you look at it here, okay, first thing you notice is, yep, that's broken off. Now, it's basically the same style as this. It has a can opener, bottle opener, and a blade. But when I saw it, I was like, it has to be a hammer brand. And it was, and I'll show you the tang stamp here. See that? Now, it's a very distinctive one. Let me get this broken thing out of the way. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look carefully, when you look this up on hammer brand, you have to look carefully at the arm holding the hammer. You see how it is basically horizontal. It's not at an angle, and that's the trick. There's 3 kinds of tang stamps to them, and this one is very distinctive. It's the oldest one they have, which is very cool, which is why I really want to fix this guy up. The other day, I was looking through my box of bones, parts and things, and I thought, you know what, I think I saw one there, and I found this guy. See this? Now it's a little different because it has that little knobby on the front, which we can take off because really back then they didn't need that. Those things were used for, like your phones, to release things and pop things out and reset stuff on computers and stuff. So it's a little bit more modern than the actual knife. Looking at it here, I think it's going to fit perfectly into this handle. So we can set it all up. So we're going to have to take this apart. I'm contemplating, do I want to take it apart or just take this pin out and replace it? I think I'm going to take it apart because we can clean it up really nice. It is a clamshell, so we're going to have to be careful taking the scales off. You don't want to break any clips or anything like that. And you know, you can see the handle is in really good condition again. Don't know what's going on here. Haven't seen that much lately. You know, typically they scratched, broken, chipped, and, you know, you got to replace them. But very cool. Hammer brand is all I'm going to do is get on with it. And while we're doing it, maybe I'll do a talk over for you and give you some history on both these guys. I'm sure you've heard of hammer brand. Richards in the USA is not as well known. However, overseas in England, pretty well known. What I want to do is I'm going to try using my Dremels more to clean them up. Like I said, I will take this guy apart. So it is really the best way to clean a knife, is just take it all apart, and you can clean each piece separately, and you can do a better job. This guy doesn't need much. Just really the main blade is pretty bad, but that's easy to clean up. This guy, I have to take apart anyway. I want to use my Dremel stuff more. I think it'll be quicker, although I do prefer doing it by hand. I'm going to try that, and we'll see how we do. I'll be doing some stuff by hand, especially the finer sanding and cleanup, and we'll see how we do. Typical with Dremel, you gather a lot. You buy stuff you need. It's cheaper to buy them in like sets, so you get a lot of extras that comes with it, and I have a lot. This little Dremel I've had for a long time. Unfortunately, the battery is starting to die on me. It doesn't hold a charge as much as it used to, and I'm going to have to look into maybe seeing if you can actually get another battery for it. I've used this a lot. You've seen me use this. I'd like to. There's a bunch of accessories for these guys, but the latest one I've got is these guys. See these? I first came across these guys when Terrell, I believe it was, in Texas, sent me some. And I was like, maybe I should look at these. And I finally got to doing that. And I even found out how to ID the grain or the grit value of the different colors. And the set I got really goes from about the heaviest grit, I believe, is 120, and it goes as high as 800. Really good for your initial cleanup on the hard stuff. The first thing I want to do is take this guy apart, and I want to make sure that this is going to fit. And if it does, I'll clean off the tip here and maybe make it a flathead screwdriver, kind of sort of like that, which is pretty typical for this style 3-blade knives, kind of a little camp knife type thing. So we're going to take this apart, which means we've got to take off the clamshells, which is a nervous time in my life to do that because I'm so worried about breaking those tabs. As you can see, the main blade and everything needs a good cleanup, and especially in the well. And of course, we've got to replace this guy. So let's get the clamshells off. So these are the two things I use the most to take them off. Initially, I'll use this to see if I can bend it away and then use the little screwdriver just to lift them up so that they come off. Now, if you look carefully here on one side, you can see you have access to the clips. On the other side, there's no way to access them. So you just need to loosen these off, pull it up, and you can slide it off. So maybe we can get under there and lift it carefully. For some reason, there's a piece of wood in there. Must have been whittling with it. Now I've just got to raise that tab enough, not too much, just so that I can pull this off like that. And then you can slide it off like that. And there you go. And you can see you've got 3 pins, 1, 2, 3. So, gonna grind them off, pop them out, take it all apart, soak it, clean it up. Another accessory I got and I was asked about was a quick chuck. Now this is your standard typical chuck you see on any drill. This is not from Dremel, but they're designed to go onto it. And you just put it on, and you can see you put it in, lock it, turn it, and it'll tighten up just like that. And then you're ready to go. Oops. Need my glasses. Okay, here you can see I have the knife apart. Couple of things. Here is the tool I'm going to use to replace the bottle opener, and that'll go here. Hoping that's going to work. The other issue I came across is if you look here at this, can you see how it is worn away there on the blade? Okay. The other thing on the spring is if you look right there, look how the spring has worn away as well. I went into my bag of bones parts and looked for another spring. I couldn't find a matching one. All I found was this one, and it's a little worn, but not much. The pinholes match perfectly, but at the back here, it's short. I don't know if it'll work. So what I want to do is I'm going to put this together just with something to hold it together and look to see if this will work. Not really a lot I can do with the blade here. And I don't want to replace the blade because the blade has the tank stamp on it. While I fiddle with this, I thought I'd go over some history on Hammer brand. The Hammer brand was originally owned by the New York Knife Company. And these guys were around from 1856 to about 1931. And they went out of business, and that was right in the middle of the Depression. That's what put them out of business. The Hammer brand was purchased by Imperial Knives, and they took over the brand and continued to make them until they went out of business. And I can't remember when that was, but it wasn't that long ago. So they've been around for a while. Probably just about all the knives we see from Hammer brand these days, the old ones, they are from Imperial. I thought that was interesting. Did not know that Hammer brand belonged to somebody else and Imperial bought them. Obviously, when Imperial was going out of business, they were bought by Schrade. But before we do things like that, let's make sure that's going to work, that this is going to fit. Oh boy. Let's see if this works. We've got a double side spring here, so maybe it will work. I think it will work. Well, I think I'm going to clean these up and put it together, and let's see what happens. There you can see the tank stamp. And I was talking about the horizontal arm. Okay, so I went through and went over it with the Dremel, cleaned it up, just rubbed it a bit with 1000 grit sandpaper. So there it is then. It seems okay. Everything's loose, but it seems to be holding. Now we just got to pin it in the middle here. And the way you do that is you put it in the vise and you can get a pin in there. So I've cut a pin just roughly, and it's not flat. So I'm going to file it flat, then tap it to get it to spread a bit so that when I put it in, it won't just fall straight through. It's kind of like prepping the pin. So now I've got to squeeze the springs in until the holes line up, and you can get a pin in there. I just want to snip these pins down. When you pin the middle one, you don't have to worry about it being too tight. Nothing really moves there. The springs stay there solid. They might rock a little bit, but that's it. But you want it as tight as you can, within reason, obviously. Now, when you pin the outer ones where the pivoting is, you don't want it tight. Otherwise, the springs don't release you, and you lose your snap and your torque. Your walk and torque goes away. So I've been told that if you put like a razor like this in there to give your gap that you need, then it won't be too tight. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll tap in. Now we're starting to see some problems. I think I can fix them. One, see the blade? How high up it sticks here. Oh, okay, we've got spring room there. So we need to just file down here a little bit more, this area here, and see if it drops. Okay, I had to take it all apart again because I had to file this down here, because it went across and then dipped in a little bit longer. The blade wouldn't close. The other thing I did wrong was I put the blade in the wrong place so that the nail neck was in the wrong place, on the wrong side. So I had to switch it around anyway. I'm going to repin it. Well, morning campers. Yeah. This project, I have to say, is a fail. I put it together and took it apart 5 times. It finally went together. And you can see it there. The problem is, if you look at the spring this one on this side. See how low it is? The blade was so worn where it swivels that the spring sits too low. The only way to fix it would be to change the blade or find some way to redo the tang so that it isn't worn away. I thought about solder, but I don't think it's strong enough to take the wear of the spring. I changed this for another one. I found another one, and it actually is really snappy on there. So you can see the blade has no snap at all. It's simply because the spring sits too low. The other problem is that. Can you see that? It doesn't match up, unfortunately. And although it looks okay and you have to look at it to see the problems, they are there. I'm not really happy with it. But I cleaned it up and everything. It'll do for now. I want to make a bail for it. And maybe I'll come across another blade. It has to be... I just can't get rid of this blade. It tells you how old the knife is. But I learned a lot of pinning and unpinning and fixing and filing and all that good stuff. I did finally get it together. I learned a lot on the project, but unfortunately it's not what I hoped for. I'm going to clean this guy up. I love this knife. And while I do that, I'll do a voiceover to give you some history of these guys. There's not much, but it's interesting. They've been around a while. And this is the Richards knife. Pretty cool. You can see the tang there. Let me try and get it so you can see it. I'll put it up on the screen so that you can see it. Very interesting, their history and how successful they were once they got set up in England. So let's give it a quick cleanup. I think I'm just going to hit most of it with some mothers and use the Dremel to do it. But I've got to clean this one up a little bit more because it's kind of rusty. The others are not too bad. Bail and everything. Got to clean out this inside, make it all shiny, and then sharpen it up. Let's do that. Richards Knife Company started around 1900 in Solingen in Germany. They moved to Sheffield, England under the name Richards. The original name was spelt this way. You can see it on the screen there. By Stefan and Wilhelm Müller in 1932. And they were later joined by Paul, the brother, in 1937. And they started the company, which eventually became Richards, spelt the English way, in Sheffield. They did this move, interestingly enough, just before the Second World War. So they timed that well. They did really well. They did so well that they eventually became the most popular pocket knife company in England. Just about everybody who carried a pocket knife had one of theirs, which I thought was interesting because kind of surprised me. It's not well known in the US, simply because there's so many other ones and it is an English one. We tend to stick to our own. But I got to tell you, I can see why they became so popular. Very well made. Their tank stamp is very distinctive. You saw it there. It has that lamppost in the middle. It says Richards and it says Sheffield, England. That lamppost, I read that the original company in Germany, in Solingen, actually had that lamppost right outside their building. That's where the tank stamp came from. And they brought it with them when they went to England. Thought that was interesting. So a little bit about Richards. I actually own another one of their knives, and I really like them. They're not common. You do come across one, get it. They really are well made. They solid knives, and you just see why it was so popular in England. They do the clamshell and all that good stuff. So compared to other ones, they're pretty good. Certainly on a par or better than the Imperial or Hammer brand and that sort of stuff. I think it's a little bit better quality. So there you go. Some history on Richards, Sheffield, England. So there you go. Nice, quick, clean. Very nice knives. I can see why they were so popular. Shines up nicely. Now we just got to make them sharp. Well, there you go, campers. You win some, you lose some. I was really excited about this guy, and I thought that I could fix it, which I kind of did, and that's the problem. It's a kind of fix. And here it is here. Now, you remember this was broken and I found one to replace it. Turned out it didn't work. Actually, it probably would have worked, but I made a mistake. This piece here on it, on the other one, was really big. And when I closed it, the spring's strong on these guys. You see how it sticks up. And there's a reason for it, for the nail neck. So you can get the nail neck when the blade is closed, you can still reach it. I thought it stuck up too high, so I ground that down a little bit. Couldn't open it then. I wasn't really happy with it, the shape of it, when I tried to redo it. And I went back into my box and I just looked at my parts, but then I looked at my beaters and I found one. So I did that. This is in really good nick. I love these can openers. They're so old school and traditional. Oil all over my fingers now. And you can see the little guys have good snap. You see that? So the spring and everything works fine. They all worked out great. The problem was with the blade, the spring. Now the spring on the blade was totally worn out, just like the pivot point on the blade. Not sure how to fix that. So that's the problem there. But I've seen it done with soldering. and I'm wondering if I want to try that. I'm kind of disappointed because the spring sits too far. The other thing is that this here, the spring is a little shorter. So for me, it's a kind of a fail. But I love this knife. It's a great knife. And, you know, it is a Hammer brand. And you can see it's the old school tang stamp. Great knife. And I like Hammer brand. A little disappointed. It needs a bail. But I'm going to wait patiently. Maybe when I'm out playing around, I might find something to fix it with. When I was cleaning it, can you see that? The UT. Well, it actually said Scout on there, but it's worn away. So, well, it is an old knife. So there's that. Now, this guy, I really like this knife. See that? The handle is in really good condition. The whole knife was in great condition. And when I found it, I was so excited because of the tang stamp, and it was Richard's. And I do own another one from them, which I like as well. So, and it cleaned up. Look at that. It really cleaned up nicely. Really like this. Very happy with this one. Didn't have to do a lot to it. I basically just had to give it a quick rub. And a rag here just to wipe it off because I got my fingerprints and everything over it. I just oiled it. So there you can see it there. Beautiful knife. Love this knife. And the inside's even cleaned out pretty good. So there you go. Don't know what to tell you. You know, you win some, you lose some. That's how I learn. I'm sure everybody learns from that. A simple cleanup like this is nice and easy. I'm glad I decided to do that because it calmed me down after dealing with that guy. So there you go. And you all be safe out there, especially with these guys. You saw when I was cleaning this up, I was going to clean the well, and I realized the blade was sitting there, and if my hand slipped, it's going to go right over the blade. So don't forget to tape those up. Even if they're not sharp, they will still cut you, so be aware of that. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. I got projects coming out of my ears. My lists that I make up change totally because I'll get some in the mail code. I'm like, wow, I want to do that. So my schedule gets mixed up and things pile up. But this week, I am going camping and fishing with the guys from work, Josh, Lee, and Ricky. Early in the season, we just had a bunch of snow again. You know, the weather had got up to the 60s, and now we're back to snow. But we're going to go down to the driftless area, a great place for fly fishing, and that's what we want to do. So it's catch and release season. You can't keep anything, but we're going to go down and get into some fishing practice. That's the plan. Thanks for watching. Always appreciated. And we'll see you again soon.